Hi guys, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be looking at this new premium TWS from Yamaha. And guys, this is supposed to be the flagship TWS. And if you guys recall, last year I had actually tested Yamaha's one of their premium headphones. If I recall, the name was YHL700, and the sound quality on that was fabulous. So when Yamaha India approached me, they told me they wanted to send this one. I said why not, because again I had actually pretty high expectations from this one. And guys, just want to make it very clear, this unit was sent to me by Yamaha India, but the testing and everything I have done independently. I have now used this for about 2.5 weeks. So thoughts are my own thoughts in this video. And before I get into this TWS, what do I feel about this one? And I would say this is catered towards people who are looking for a TWS on which clarity and music is the highest concern. But before we dwell into it, let me quickly give you a background about Yamaha. Yamaha as an audio brand is a very old one. Actually, they started making audio equipment about 60 years ago. And if you guys don't recall, in high-end home theaters, still Yamaha's AVR receivers are used, and these are actually pretty high-end. They cost several lakhs, and Yamaha also makes speakers and stuff. So again, Yamaha has a very long history in terms of high-end audio, so they have that pedigree. So let's have a look at this premium TWS that is known as TW-E7B. This is the one, as you can see, and it actually came in with a lot of stuff. Let me actually show you what comes inside the box. As you can see, a pretty big box. And I've taken out everything. Again, this is the TWS. We'll come back to this later. We also get this carrying case in this one, so that was surprising. And we get a physical warranty card. This is something that I haven't seen for a long time, but yeah, you do get that. And you also get a pamphlet like this, which gives you a guide about it, how to use it, and the basic stuff. You also have an app. I'll show you that. I have actually configured it. And apart from that, one thing I like is, let me actually zoom in a little bit. I like that this comes with a lot of ear tips. Actually, a total of 5. One is attached, and you get this 4 separately. And in fact, I had to actually change the ear tips. And I would recommend, if you're going for this one, play around with the ear tips, because after changing it, the seal and the sound signature completely changed. In fact, very surprisingly, I would say I had to use one tip of a different size on one ear and one on another. But after that, the seal and the sound signature was very, very good. Let me actually, I'll talk about the sound signature later on. But let's look at this TWS again. This is made up of plastic, and again, it's a good quality plastic. That's the same thing that we are seeing in a lot of TWS, not a big difference. We have a Type-C charging connector over here. We also get a small Type-C, cable in the box, also in the package. I forgot to show you. We have the Yamaha logo over here. And relatively, this is actually chunky. If you notice, this is slightly on the bigger side. And the reason for this is that this one, I believe, has the biggest capacity of battery in the case. This is actually 800 milliamp hour. That's pretty high. And also, the battery life on the buds are actually good. Yamaha actually claims 6 hours of battery per on this TWS. In fact, I got slightly more than that. So again, pretty good. And if you notice, this we have LED lights over here, and these glow in different colors over here to denote what is happening, so you easily know that. And we also have here, so this gives you an idea how much charge the case actually has. So it's pretty easy and functional. Now if I bring the earbuds, by just looking at the earbuds, these might look actually big, and yes, they are slightly on the bigger side. They actually have a 10mm driver, and actually they're very, very good. And as you can see, I think so it has paired to my smartphone now, connected automatically. And these actually look big and bulky, but surprisingly, once you get the ear tips right and you should actually play around with this one. These actually fit very, very comfortably in the ears. That was my big surprise, because initially when I got it, seeing the size, I was a little bit worried how will be in terms of comfort. But in terms of comfort, they have done a very, very good job. And in fact, yes, these have ANC and all these things, but even without ANC, they perform a very good seal. And the way you use it is, you just put it here and just twist it a little bit like this, and they form a very good seal. Surprisingly, it's actually very, very comfortable. The reason for this one is that these actually just don't go inside deep into ears like many of the TWS. That's why many of the TWS cause discomfort. These actually rest over here because of the design of this one. So though it might look very, very bulky, and I was also worried about this one, these are actually very, very comfortable even for long hours. If you just wear it, they actually, you don't feel that ear pain or something like that. So that way they have actually done a good job. Okay, now moving to the next thing is again, these also have a proximity sensor on both of them. So whenever you take them out, automatically the music will pause and all this thing. Apart from that, this is something that I really, really liked. I might add a zoom shot here. If you notice, these one actually have physical buttons. On the right one, we have two buttons on this one, and no touch fiddling and all those things. So I love these buttons. They have good tactile feel, and you can actually increase the volume if you just press this once, and if you just press this one, you can decrease the volume, and if you double tap this one, you can move to the next track, double tap, move to the previous track. So I like that you have physical buttons on this one. And the left one, if you notice, left bud has just a single button, and from this you can move between your ANC, transparency mode, or just switch off all that ANC and all these things. And you can also pause and pause the music and resume the music. So that way, in terms of functionality, I would say I love these. You don't have to actually go back to your smartphone to adjust the volume or do anything, and they work very, very well. So in a way, I would say I prefer these physical buttons to those touch fiddly type stuff that we are seeing in a lot of TWS. So this is implemented very, very well. Okay, next thing is that talking about the Bluetooth and the connectivity, I tested this one with actually 3 different Android smartphones and even the iPhone. These are actually Bluetooth 5.2. And actually they support, on Android, actually they support aptX, SBC and all those things. So connectivity was never a problem, and in fact the range was also not an issue. In this flat, even if I moved around 2 rooms, it was actually connected and it did not disconnect. So the Bluetooth connection is actually very, very strong, and it's Bluetooth 5.2 that we are getting on this one. So connectivity wise, I did not have a problem with this one. So that way they are actually pretty good. Now let's just put this back again. If you notice, you have these LEDs denote what is happening. Let me actually show you the app because I want to talk about some of the functions, and it's easier. I think so. I might have to take it out so that it is connected. And this is the interface that you get on this one. And if you notice, this is actually very, very simple. Let me just lower the brightness a little bit. Very simple interface. It gives you an idea about the charge levels, how they're 100% and everything. And again, the battery life is terrific, I would say, and it gives almost 6 hours, 6+ hours actually for the TWS, and this one easily just charges it pretty quickly. Okay, we do have an equalizer on this one, and fortunately you can actually tweak it. This is my equalizer tweaking, but if you just go back here, you have some preset EQs also on this one, but purist will like that no EQ also. You will love it because these are very close to audiophile grade TWS in the neutral mode. They have slightly exaggerated. I'll talk about that in the sound signals, but again, you can tweak around with this, and you can go to the user settings like this and tweak around with, let's say, EQ. It's a 5-band EQ, but actually does the job. And you also have these presets over here. So pretty basic. But next thing, if you go down here, we have again, as I've told you, with the left bud, you can move between noise cancellation, ambient sound, and switch it off. Okay, first let's talk about the, right now it's on off. This is noise cancellation. And if we talk about the noise cancellation, yes, it does have noise cancellation, and it will drown down the lower frequencies of the sound like engine and all those things. Those are eliminated completely. Right now my AC is there, a slight hum, that is completely gone. But in terms of ANC, this does not drown out the higher tones or something like that. So again, human voices, it doesn't drown out. So if you are expecting the ANC to be the best, no, that I would say it's not among the best. ANC is just average. But what I liked is that in many of the high-end TWS that I use, when you switch on the ANC, the sound signature actually changes because it's alternating the sound signature quite a bit because of the very aggressive ANC. That does not happen. Also, another thing I noticed is that even I tested this with ANC on for a lot of time, without ANC for a lot of time, and even though the ANC is on for hours and hours after, it doesn't give you that weird sensation in your ears when the ANC is on. That happens in some of the TWS that are very aggressive in ANC. So ANC, I would say yes, it's there, but I would say it's average. In fact, I would say the seal is so good, as I've told you, once you get the tips right, the seal is so good that for listening to music, even in the off position, it cuts down a lot of sound. So I listened to it with ANC on. Yes, there is that slight difference, but even off, it sounded actually really, really good. Next, we have this transparency mode. And this actually works very well. If you switch this on, you will start hearing a lot of things that is around you. The only nitpicking I have that in transparency mode, there is just on and off. They should have had slider so that you can adjust the level of ambient sound. By default, if you switch it on, you start hearing a lot of things around you. So that's what it is. Next thing that I really liked about this one is this thing called Listening Care Advanced. And I think so Yamaha is now giving this in a lot of audio products. Even the headphones that I had tested last year had that. This has multiple vents over here and microphones over here. So these continuously actually adapt to the environment to protect your hearing. Listening care and listening optimizer is also another thing that I like. This is something, for example, in many of the headphones and TWSs, we generally have to actually increase the volume above 50-60% to get the whole sound signature, the depth. In lower volumes, let's say you don't want to listen to higher volumes, let's say 20-25%, you simply don't get the full dynamic range. Here, I would say the listening optimizer and listening care handles that. Even if you don't keep the volumes at very, very high levels, you get the whole dynamic sound signature. And this is again done on the fly based on environment that's changing, and also in that way I would say it has done a very good job. You can switch this off, but I would say you switch this on and you'll really appreciate that you don't have to listen to the music at very, very high volumes to enjoy the music. We also have the gaming mode that's supposed to be reducing the latency, but frankly speaking, I didn't have to actually use it. I didn't do gaming, I'll be very frank about it. I didn't do gaming, but I did listen watch a lot of YouTube videos and Netflix shows while wearing this one. And even with this gaming mode off, I did not have any lip syncing issue. So that is nice. You can switch on gaming mode if you want. That it further reduces the latency, they say. But I did test it for half an hour while watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. But what I noticed is that with the gaming mode, the battery life falls a little bit. So that's what it is. If you notice, very, very simple app. And apart from that, if you go over here, you have the firmware upgrade test and all this thing. I also like the fact that, again, I feel other TWSs should also offer this. Here you can actually toggle between the auto off timer, as you can see. So this is a nice touch that you have. Also, as I've told you, you have in-ear detection, so you can toggle it on and off. So whenever you're listening to music, and if you just take out one of the buds, it will just pause the music, or even it works for video. So this is the app. Again, the app is pretty basic, but gets the core functionality done, in my frank opinion. Now, yes, of course, this is a TWS, so you will be taking calls with this one. And in terms of microphone quality, again, as I've told you, I've used it for about 2.5 weeks, and I've taken a lot of calls, and other people simply did not complain to me that I was sounding muffled or anything. So that way, I would say the microphone quality is good enough. You will not have a problem with this one. Okay, now let's move to the sound department. And again, if you guys follow me, you know I have tested a lot of premium TWSs like the Sony XMs and Force, this, that, all of them. And here I would say these actually make a huge difference. If you are someone who's critical about music, and you really know what is the clarity of the music in some of the higher end headphones and stuff that you have heard, I feel in that department, these actually shine compared to many of the other TWSs. Let me just break it down. But before that, one thing I actually noticed about these TWS is that, and I'm glad that I did take my time to actually test it. When I got it out of the box, they sounded good. But what I noticed is that after 4 or 5 days of usage, this must be like 12-15 hours of usage, I noticed that these earphones actually opened up, the sound stage actually opened up a little bit more. So I feel these do require a little bit of burn in. So that was very strange. Generally TWSs don't exhibit that change. Generally we have to do it for high-end headphones, but I did notice that the sound signature opened up and they became more lively after a couple of days of usage. So certainly if you are getting this one, don't be too critical. Do a burn in for 12-15 hours or something and you'll definitely notice a difference. Okay, anyways, I'm digressing. Let's move to the sound quality on this one. Overall, I would say these try to produce the sound that is very real and authentic, and clarity is a high point. Now if I let's break it down between the bass. As I've told you, default the bass is there, slightly exaggerated, but most of you will actually like it. And I played with the EQ as I've showed you earlier, and I like the bass on this one. The bass is very, very tight on this one, and never I felt that it was muddy or something. So you will like the bass on this one, and it's not overpowering, but it's actually punchy. It comes, goes. So bass is done beautifully on this one, and I love the bass signal. It's not muddy or overly done. Sometimes many of the TWS actually overdo the bass, and you notice that. I don't want to name names, but you guys know that. Here I would say the bass has been done tastefully well, so most of you will like it. In terms of mid-range and vocals, these are also done beautifully. Vocals are slightly forward pronouncing, but I love the clarity on this one. The vocals are done very well. Coming to the stereo and instrument separation, here I would say, and the sound stage, here I would say these have to be one of the best TWSs in this price range. The sound separation and the sound stage that I was getting on this one was beautifully done. You can actually, if close your eyes, you can imagine the instruments. Okay, it's coming from here. So the sound stage and the stereo separation that was done on this one, imaging that we call, was done beautifully, and vocals sound brilliant on this one. And coming to the higher tones, here also I would say the higher tones are produced very well on this one. They do have that sparkle that is generally missing on some of the TWSs. This does have that, but again, it's not overly and excessively done that it fatigues your ear. In fact, I would say I listened to them continuously for 2.5 hours also, and after that also my ears were not fatiguing or something. In fact, the sound signature is tuned so well that you start singing. That's my whole thing about if a TWS is really, really good, you start enjoying it and you start singing. That is what actually happened on this one. So in terms of sound signature, if I have to rate them just based on the sound signature, the sound that these produce, and mind, you can actually tweak it a little bit as per the app if you really want it. I loved them. In fact, in terms of just the sound quality, if we talk about it, not the other features and all those things, I would rate these as high as 9.5 out of 10. But overall, if I have to talk about it, it loses some points because of the average ANC as it has. So overall, I would rate it about 8.7 out of 10. But again, when it comes down to the pricing in India, I was checking Amazon India. I just checked it today at the time of making this video, and this was around 16,000 or something. And generally, I noticed that these are priced at between 16 to 17,000 on Amazon India. And for that price, these are incredible, I would say. If music quality and clarity is your highest concern, in that area, these TWSs actually surprised me. So if you are a person who loves music and clarity is your very high concern, you can definitely have a look at these. Anyways, guys, that's it for now for this video. I hope you liked it. And guys, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.